Turn the transcript off so it's not a distraction. Okay, good morning, Mr. Schroth. We are ready to proceed.
Good morning, everyone. We're here today on FDN 2587. If there is anybody who is going to give testimony, if you could at this time, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. If we could proceed with the presentation by the City of Tampa at this time.
Mr. Schroth, just for the record, we'll do some introductions. My name is Kamari Pettis-Nackle. I'm representing the City of Tampa from the legal department.
Eric Cotton, Development Coordination Manager / Zoning Administrator.
Laura Marley, Development Coordination. Who am I?
Yeah, hi, I'm Robert Hall. I'm President CEO of Grow Architecture, the architects in the case.
And good morning, Truett Gardner, Gardner Brewer Hudson, attorney, and here to represent Mr. Moore and Andy Effinger.
Good morning, Addie Clark with Gardner Brewer Hudson as well.
Hi, Ed Moore, subject property owner, co-owner.
Hello, Angie Effinger, also subject owner or property owner.
Aaron Mayer, Development Coordination.
Those are the, Mr. Schroth, those are all the introductions at this point. So we're ready to proceed to, as outlined in the rules of procedure, beginning with the information from the historical procedure information from the staff. I emailed you the PowerPoint presentation. Would it be easier? I could try to share, like, bring it up in order to share the screen, or do you want us just to go forward and go slide by slide? What would you prefer?
Thank you for asking. Yes, if you could put it on the screen, that'd be great for everybody,
Okay,
including
let
me.
me just let me just put you on mute just for 1 second, and then I'll add it to my desktop.
Thank you.
It's trying to I've never logged on to this computer system at Hannah, so it's trying to log me on, so I apologize.
At least it's friendly.
cut.
Okay, I think I've got it. It's opening up, Mr. Stroff. Now I just gotta make sure I could, share my screen. I apologize. I should have had this already. Oh,
He should go away, like,
Yeah,
or
when
you
you
can
hit
like
share, it
minimize
helps.
him, yeah.
You should shrink down.
okay. Can you see it, Mr. Stroff?
I can. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Success.
Great.
We're ready to start. Good morning again, Mr. Schroff, Eric Cotton, zoning administrator for the city of Tampa. This is a petition for review for FDN 2587 for 58 Albemarle.
Yes, well said.
That's right. We've been debating how that was the past couple of
You
weeks.
nailed it.
Truly. Well, we moved from Bosphorus, so we just love it. Yeah.
Let's go. Odd. Let me just use the mouse. I'll go down the bottom. So the petitioners Edward Moore and Angela Effinger. They're there. Those are the property owners. Again, the address is 58 Albemarle Avenue on Davis Islands. Property zoned RS50 residential single family. Although I'll probably repeat this, minimum lot size in the RS50 zoning district is 5,000 square feet and it requires 50 feet of frontage as measured at the 20-foot setback. Further application, the formal decision request was to split the property and it quote, "Our house flooded during Helene with about 3 feet of water, 3 feet inside. We're splitting the lot in order to recover losses by redeveloping the 2 new parcels to current code." This is a map. As you can see, the property itself is highlighted in with the red dash around it. The larger greenish colored circle is the 1,320 linear feet that staff looks at when making the determination. And we look at properties that are within 1,320 feet and zoned RS50. This is just an aerial view from the property appraiser's office showing the house as it sits right now and the lot as it's developed. So this is the original plat. And this played a role in our decision. The property is highlighted in yellow. As you can see, it's oriented towards Albemarle, as are the rest of the properties in that. As you can see how the plat is oriented. The development pattern in the as it sits on the ground right now is the way it was originally platted. This is to highlight of lots 14 and 15. These are the 2 lots in question. So this is a close-up of the survey submitted. You can see one lot by plat as measured is 50 by roughly 149. It narrows down to 40 in the back. The other lot at a certain point is at the property line is measured at 40 feet by plat. At the 20-foot setback, it might actually meet or exceed the 50-foot requirement. The lot by itself, the 2 lots, as they're platted, both exceed a roughly 6,000 square feet. Go to the next slide. And this is what the proposal was. So they were going to reorient the 2 lots and have parcel A with about 7,700 square feet. And that would be the northeast portion of lot 14 and the southeast portion of lot 15. And then parcel B, I think is highlighted on the next slide. Nope, let's go back. Sorry. And then parcel B is roughly 5,500 square feet. And that would have been, again, the western portion of those 2 lots, 14 and 15. So the code itself, 27-11 is the criteria that staff looks at when we review a lot reconfiguration. Again, we go out to 1,320 feet. We look at the original plat and we look at how we get a survey of the property. Then we look at the development pattern in the area. And based on how the properties have been developed, we make a determination whether or not the lot split is appropriate or as proposed. And our determination, that's why we're here today, was that those two lots were not consistent with the development pattern in the area. Again, this is just in summary, the map, again, the property is highlighted in red at the corner of Adriatic and Albemarle. And the green is the 1,320 linear feet that we look at. And this is just a highlight. So what's the property zone RS50, that's the specific area we looked at. That's one of the criteria is not just a 1320, but also the zoning district has to be the same. So as you can see, the lots as they are developed follow the way they were platted. And for the city, regardless of the orientation of a house on the property, where the front door faces, zoning wise, it's the narrowest portion of lots always considered the front, regardless of how the property itself is oriented. Special Magistrate, do you have any questions at this point?
I do not. Thank you.
Mr. Strock, do you want me to go? I have just a few follow-up questions according to the rules of procedures. Do you want me to proceed now?
Yes, please, if you have questions for Mr. Cotton, and then if you have any other witnesses.
Okay. Mr. Cotton, going back to, I just want to clarify for the record, and this is on city's exhibit, city's composite exhibit E, and this is specifically page number 7. You described the two platted lots. Now, specifically just for clarification, lot 15, although you see a 40 at the northern portion of Albemarle, that shows 40. However, can you clarify that the setback for that lot would be measured on based upon what?
So we measure, so under the code, you go, so the setback in the front yard setback in the RS50 is about 20 feet. So we would go back 20 feet and we would measure across the property to probably about there and take a measurement and to determine what that measurement is, if that would be 50 feet or not. If it meets the 50 feet, then it would be considered a lot of record or be considered a buildable lot.
Okay. Now, there are other, just to clarify for the record, there are other properties that are zoned RS50 in the 1320 feet radius that you're required to refer to in code section 27-11, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And just can you clarify that those properties that are zoned RS50 in that 1320 radius, although they're oriented a certain way, they're built how they were platted, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's reflected in. This slide shows the development pattern of the area and it follows the way they were originally platted.
And so there's no, none of these lots that you're referenced on, and just so that we're specific, this is page 11 of the city's exhibit, composite exhibit number, composite exhibit E, that none of them are the result of a lot split or reorientation, correct?
That is correct.
And there were other properties that were identified or used as comparisons for the basis of this appeal. Specifically, there was a reference to a parcel identified as, and I believe you have it, a parcel identified with lot as 194799. That's on the corner of that's on the corner of Adriatic Avenue. Adriatic and Aegean. Or no, actually, it's actually Adele. Adele. Adele.
It was
Um,
a place to get lost.
Yes.
Is that property an RS50 zone property?
Yes, ma'am, it's zoned RS50.
And where is, according to the code in 27-161, what is the front of that property?
It would be Adriatic Avenue.
Okay. And despite despite where the front door of that property is, the front of that property, according to the code, the City of Tampa code, is Adriatic Avenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, the other reference is a property parcel identified as 194790. Is that property zoned RS50?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And I believe this one is the front of, it's on Adriatic Avenue and Aegean Avenue. So you just clarified that that is zoned RS50.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the front of that property
Per the
according to the
zoning,
code?
per the zoning regulations, it faces Aegean Avenue.
And that is similar to the platted lot or lots for this subject property that we're here for today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have at this time, based upon other information that may come out. Mr. Schroff, I may have additional questions.
Certainly. And before Attorney Gardner does cross-examination, I just wanted to reference that was a prior stipulation by email that the city's exhibits 1 through 6, also described as exhibits A through F, are part of the evidence of this proceeding, and that petitioner's exhibits by stipulation 1 through 7, also identified as exhibits A through G, are also part of the evidence of this quasi-judicial hearing, in addition to additional support letters that were provided by the petitioner's counsel. Attorney Gardner, do you have any cross-examination, Mr. Cotton?
Good morning, Mr. Schroff. I'm a land use attorney, not a litigator, so I'm not really comfortable with cross-examination. But I do have just one question, I think, just to really center this for Mr. Cotton, which is, when reviewing this is an RS50 property. Am I right that we meet all the dimensional requirements of having 2 lots? This is specifically just relates to the orientation of these 2 lots. And then, as you mentioned, where the city came out was the historical pattern and precedent. I just wanted to make it clear that as far as, with this being an RS50 property, that we meet all code criteria to have 2 lots. This is specifically a question of orientation, and their finding being that we didn't meet the historical precedent.
Another question.
Yes, very long question.
Yes, the 2 lots as proposed shown do meet the minimum standards for the RS50 zoning district.
That's all I have, Mr. Straw.
Thank you, sir. Is there any follow-up from Attorney Pettis-Mackle?
Just to expand upon what Mr. Gardner asked you, although the 2 proposed lots meet the RS50 zoning requirements, does the code 27-11 and in addition to 27-161, does it meet, the proposed lots meet those requirements?
In our determination, no.
Okay. All right. I have no further additional clarifying questions.
Understood. Do you have any other witnesses or evidence to present?
No, Mr. Shaw.
All right. Mr. Gardner, do you have any witnesses you would like to present at this time?
We have, if it's okay, the order will be, I'll go first. My partner, Addie Clark, is here. She's going to fill in some details on our PowerPoint. And then we have Mr. Hall, who's the architect. And then I think we'll close with Mr. Moore and Ms. Effinger, if that's okay with you.
That's certainly fine with me. Thank you, sir.
Sure. We need to do a PowerPoint handoff here.
I thought I pulled yours up already. Let me, hold on, I gotta exit really quick. I gotta share a screen with him. That one down. Yeah.
Perfect. So good morning again, Truett Gardner, here on behalf of Ed Moore and Andy Effinger, who are the owners of this property. And this slide here is an aerial of just the general location. And I know Eric's already shown some, but the reason I wanted to show it was a couple reasons. One, I grew up on Davis Island on, you'll notice the A's and the B's of the street name. I was on Bosphorus growing up. And so I terrorized these neighborhoods on bike and skateboard. And one of the unique things about Davis Island is there is literally not a straight street there. I think when I still ride a bike, I don't go in a straight line. I zigzag all over the place as a result of growing up there. So Davis Island, the point of this was not developed in your traditional grid-like manner. Instead, I think the original developers did a great job of laying it out in this very kind of curvilinear manner, without straight streets, different block sizes, different orientations. If you'll notice, our property in question is the one highlighted in red, and it has that east-west orientation, as does the block to the east. But if you look directly to the west, those houses are all oriented on a north-south direction. And then if you look across Adriatic to our south, you'll see those are north-south, which I think gets into how this property was laid out by Mr. Moore and then by the architect, Mr. Hall. And then again, this is the plat. Really wanted to show this. You'll see kind of back to the original point that by dividing this lot in two, we're not creating a small lot by any means. If you look all the way around, these lots are in conformance with those around. And then this also shows just on the plat, just those different curvilinear streets, the different orientations. Again, looking to the block to the south, you'll see those are north-south oriented, where we're currently east-west. And so there is just a varying pattern of development, which makes Davis Island, Davis Island. As far as the timeline, as you probably know, we suffered two terrible hurricanes last summer with Helene and Milton. I believe the major damage that was done to Mr. Moore and Ms. Effinger's house was in Helene, so about a year ago, from close to today. Took a while for them to figure out what they wanted to do. They worked with their architect and coming up with the best solution, and asked for this lot reconfiguration. That was done through the formal determination, which was denied based on the technicalities that Mr. Cotton mentioned. And we got involved with Mr. Moore to try to help. And that brings us to where we are today. And then lastly, and this kind of delves into the pertinent code sections under 2711 and then 27161, where we believe, and Addie's going to walk through kind of slide by slide, that we're actually consistent with the lot development and the historical precedent, both in this neighborhood as well as with the island as a whole. I know the code requires the 1320, And so that's what we'll focus on. But I think it's important to look at the overall context of Davis Island and how it was developed and the historical significance of it. And then lastly, we believe that we'll show that we meet the clear established historical pattern, and that we fit in with both the adjacent properties with regard to their orientation. And with that, I'll turn it over to Addie from here. And I know we have some time for rebuttal too, but just wanted to leave you with that.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Addie Clark, 400 North Ashley Drive. So kind of going into what is not changing with this proposal. We think it's important to note that we are not proposing with this reconfiguration request to change the number of platted lots. So you can see here previously platted lots is 2, and that is proposed to remain as 2. And in terms of driveways, there's currently 1 driveway on Albemarle and 2 driveways on Adriatic. And you'll see in just a few slides how with this proposal that is not proposed to change either. And so here, this shows the current plat. I know Mr. Cotton showed that as well, which shows the lots oriented in an east-west fashion, resulting in long, skinny lots about 150 feet deep and fronting Albemarle Avenue. And then here's the intent. So the reason for this reconfiguration request is to have these lots oriented north-south instead of that east-west, as you just saw. We believe this would create more square lots as opposed to those oblong lots with very long sides. And you can see how the corner lot on the right side of the screen would, as Mr. Cotton said, have, a front yard of Adriatic Avenue, since that is the shorter side. But the proposal would be to have the home oriented towards Albemarle Avenue, which is exactly how the previously existing home was oriented. And the western lot would face Adriatic Avenue, which is no different from how the previously existing home had operated, as it had a garage access off of Adriatic Avenue. And here, this graphic shows just how there is a significant pattern of homes fronting Adriatic, which I know we've been over and Truett mentioned as well. Over 18 homes, you can see with the green arrows, are fronting Adriatic, and that's within a radius of about 600 feet, as opposed to that 1320 feet that code requires to look at within that radius. So we think this clearly shows the established historical pattern of homes facing Adriatic, which is what this second lot to the west would do. And then again, section 2711 requires a reconfiguration to be consistent with historical precedent pattern of parcel configuration in the neighborhood within a radius of 1320 feet. And again, this is less than 600 feet, and just down the street, we can see this pattern over and over again. And then here's a zoomed in picture to highlight how the 2 corners to the west of this site mirror this proposed configuration. So looking all the way west, I know we just kind of highlighted this corner. So at the corner of Adalia and Adriatic, the front yard, which is defined per code as the shortest frontage to the street, is Adriatic Avenue. However, the home is oriented towards Adalia, shown with that blue arrow. And then, so looking over at, we want to do highlighted in red that eastern parcel, the front would also be Adriatic Avenue, but then as shown with the blue arrow, the home would be oriented towards Albemarle, which again is consistent with how the previous home was oriented. And then going back again to the west, to that corner of Adalia and Adriatic, that corner properties faces Adriatic just to the east of that. So you can see the green arrow. So that faces Adriatic, just how our western parcel would as well. So we're really mirroring the situation that's going on with those 2 parcels over at the corner of Adalia and Adriatic with our proposal today. And this really
I have a question.
Yes, of course.
So the parcels to the east, I know you've highlighted the ones to the west. The parcels to the east, does that house that's southeast of the proposed lot split, does that also face Adriatic?
So this one, this 194790 right here.
Further to the east.
Oh, further to the east. Oh, sorry, to the east.
Yes, this one, that one right there.
Albemarle.
So this one right here, so it does have the front yard of Albemarle, but I believe there is,
Side feed garage.
there's a side garage yet, which you can't see. Maybe you can see in a different aerial. Actually, let me go back a little bit. Oopsies. So here's a better depiction of this, where you are facing Albemarle, but then you do have a side facing garage here off of Adriatic.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
And so again, we really think this solidifies these examples on numerous corners here show how the configuration is present, not just within the code defined radius of that 1320, but along the same street. And then right here, this is in other areas around the island, but there's multiple examples of this kind of corner configuration existing throughout the island. I want to show these two examples where there are homes that front the corner, and then the neighboring home adjacent to it fronts the intersecting street, shown with the green arrows. And now I'll pass it on to Bob Hall.
Thank you. I'm Bob Hall. I'm the president of Grow Architecture. We're the architects for Ed and Angie. Also good friends. We've known them many years. One of the difficulties with zoning that we face every single day, right, is you look at lines on paper and you look at zoning requirements and setbacks and those kind of things. And often the orientation is just right. And sometimes the orientation is not quite just right. In a case like this, the lots that are formed by the zoning are, as Addie said, long and narrow. They become, 150 feet deep and 40 or 50 feet wide. That's a very difficult site to develop. From our perspective, everything is an opportunity to do the right thing contextually. How do we create the right site, the right house, the right building with the right orientation? What afforded us an opportunity here, and Addie, if you might just go back to the site plan that shows the proposed, what we tried to do here was get the best of all worlds. In other words, we're creating frontage and entries off of Adriatic. We're also respecting the historical front Albemarle. That's why you see the green arrow here. So, on the corner, we've tried to address having two fronts, if you will, right? One that addresses the historical front, the intended front, the idea that you don't violate any setbacks, you stay all within the setbacks. You're not trying to create a mega house on 3 lots, all right? We're trying to stay within the guidelines, but to create the best possible solution. So from an architectural standpoint, we feel it's very appropriate. We've submitted a letter just to kind of explain our history with this. We did meet with the city early on to do some due diligence. We were guided in a sense by the zoning department that this was probably an okay lot reconfiguration. We don't have a lot of evidence that has that. We didn't have a business card of the gentleman in zoning, but I'm just sort of paraphrasing our letter. But if I might just read from this, what we think are the salient issues. We think that the orientation we have provided and are asking for maintains neighborhood character by aligning with established lot patterns and home orientations in the immediate vicinity. Enhance streetscape quality by activating Adriatic Avenue with 2 well-designed residences instead of 1 large home or underutilized frontage. We support the city's housing goals by enabling construction of 2 appropriately scaled single-family homes, contributing to neighborhood vitality and housing diversity. Minimize the impact on neighbors as the proposed does not reduce setbacks, increase density beyond what is permitted, or create adverse visual or traffic effects. And that's a lot of words to describe. We think we've done the right thing in the right way on the lot. We've simply reoriented the lots to where they agree with the context across Adriatic. We also feel that they respect the orientation on Albemarle. So we feel like we've kind of solved the puzzle, which is what we do. We solve the puzzle. We think we've done that. We've done it within the spirit and the context of the zoning regulations. And we're simply just asking for the orientation to be reoriented to get a better posture that allows for better architecture. That's simply what we did.
Do the support first or?
So I think it'll actually, if you don't mind speaking,
Sure.
and then I think it'll be time for speakers after that.
Mr. Hall, does that conclude your part of the presentation?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions, Attorney Pettismackle, of Mr. Hall?
Yeah, no, the property owners, a part of their presentation, he's standing. You can sit down if you
Oh,
want.
you-
Yeah. From
I had
the-
instructions in the beginning.
Oh, you sorry, just for that, yeah.
The scene, yeah, no, no,
Okay.
yeah, he's a part of their presentation, so I'll have cross-examination after he's done.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Ed Moore and Angie Effinger were the owners. Emotional. I knew I'd do this.
Take your time, sir.
I've got a structured, I'm just not doing it. I'm not being helpful here.
You want us?
It's been a tough year.
I understand, Mr. Moore. At this point, Attorney Pettismackle, do you have any questions for Mr. Hall? In his presentation, his testimony, he was under oath.
Just to, he does not want.
Just, we're natives of the island, third generation. Sorry, we care.
You want Addie to read your statement?
Yeah, I'm happy to read it.
Yeah, just, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
of
I'm a sap.
No, I'll try to do it justice.
That's a great quality.
Best app I know.
And so I'll try to do it justice and then
Yes,
definitely feel free. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Ed and Angie, natives of the island, have lived there for so long, lived in Tampa for so long. Last year was hard for everyone. I think they lost 90% of their possessions, have been displaced since then. The home was really beyond repair, as too many on Davis Island and in areas around Tampa. Their family loves Davis Island. They have great neighbors, which we'll hear from shortly. They've definitely created a community of a network and a tribe around them. So we'll see that. They're not greedy outsiders. They've been in Tampa. They're homegrown natives, and so they really just want to do what makes sense here. And they hired great firms to design two beautiful homes. And so they're really excited about this, and we think it makes sense here. So let's see, and we understand the technicality of where staff was coming from, but we think that the evidence presented today, it makes sense with that orientation, and especially with the configuration around the entire island, and especially given the orientation of this street, it just makes sense. So they want to be thoughtful to their neighbors. They really care about their neighbors, which I think you'll see soon. And they're, they really appreciate everyone's time in this and are available for any questions.
I will add, if I may, since I have a minute of gathering myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir,
Uh,
please.
Yeah, thank you. If you look at the row of checks on Adriatic to the east there, that's two platted lots there that are currently being developed. So two homes are currently going up and they've topped out at this time. And then if you go across the street where the two checks are, so opposite us, those two houses that are north of the checks there, they've been torn down, and that's two platted lots as well with two houses going up. Both of those subjects have less land than we do. So that's something I want to point out. Another thing is that everybody that's got visuality of our property has signed the petition.
Which is represented by these green checks.
In favor.
Yep.
So that's it.
Mr. Moore, have any of your neighbors opposed this proposal?
Nobody that I'm aware of. And when we went through the initial formal decision process, we were not aware of anyone, and we're not aware of anyone here.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Attorney Pettismackle, at this point, do you have any questions of anyone who's presented testimony on behalf of the petitioner?
Yes, Kamari Pettismackle for the record. Mr. Hall, you have prepared on the petitioner's composite exhibit number F, and it's page 8, you prepared this intended site plan that's right here on the screen,
That's
correct?
correct.
So that's based upon the proposed lot orientation by the petitioner, correct?
Certainly, yes.
But you're able to do a proposed site plan for the platted lots, how they are developed right now, how they are
Well, sure.
platted correct
Of
right now.
course. We could do a long skinny house on both.
Okay. That's that's the only question I had of Mr. Hall. I don't know procedurally, Mr. Schroth, if you want to ask Mr. Gardner or Ms. Clark if they want to have follow-up with Mr. Hall based upon that, or can I just ask my couple of questions to Mr. Moore?
Yeah, they have the opportunity to ask Mr. Hall questions on what's described as redirect. So are there any questions, Mr. Gardner, that you have for Mr. Hall?
None that I have.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Moore, I just have a
Yes,
couple of, I'm done. I'm not,
I'm good.
okay. You just testified that on, I'm trying to see which slide, it's page 12 of petitioner's composite exhibit number F, letter F, that the two parcels across the street from you on Albemarle are being developed right now?
Correct. Now the ones not directly across Albemarle, those two have been torn down. And their intent is to build 2 homes to replace the 2 that were there.
And you're specifically referencing the corners of Albemarle and Adriatic Avenue, correct?
If I may. Right here is where the 2 houses are going up currently, and they've topped out. So there was 1 house there, there's 2 going up.
Okay, okay, hold on one second. Mr. Schroth, just for the record, since Mr. Moore walked to the screen, just to clarify for the record, what he's identified are 2 lots on Adriatic Avenue that are next to, I'm just trying to orient this for the record.
Maybe like just east of the last green check on Adriatic.
6 in a row.
Right.
East of the green checks on Adriatic Avenue. And just for the record, Ms. Clark is,
I don't know if you can see.
can you see the her?
The
her
screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
Okay, perfect. So she's circling the specific parcels that Mr. Moore just confirmed. And Mr. Moore, just to clarify, those properties are, even though that's a single lot, that's a single house that's been demolished, your testimony is that those properties are being developed facing Adriatic Avenue, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
my intent on bringing that up was the fact that they, both here and here, both of those, each of which getting 2 houses each, have less land than we do overall.
I understand.
Okay, that's my only point.
Okay. I have, if I just may have one moment. I have no further questions of Mr. Moore.
All right, Mr. Gardner, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, except reserving time for rebuttal at the end, if that's okay.
It is okay. At this point, we'll have public comment. Would any members of the public like to speak at this
Can you-
quasi judicial hearing?
Could you first stop sharing the screen so you could see them? I don't know if you.
Sure, thank you. And if you could, as you approach, please state your name, and if you could state your address, that would be helpful as well.
Should we have them just sit?
They
No,
need
they
to
need
sit
to
and
come
really
over
good
here
at
so
it
that
because
they
they're
can
not going to be on the screen.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. My name is Teresa Mena. I am the only next door neighbor of Ed and Angie on Albemarle that's left. The houses to the left of Ed and the houses to the left of Ed and Angie have been demolished. The houses next to me, across from Ed and Angie, no one's living there since Helene. Ed and Angie approached us when they found out that they were going to have to tear down their house, which was a very traumatic time for them. And they told us that they were going to split their lot. For us, instead of making 2 subway car lots that would now impact Albemarle, they decided to keep the current structure of the house and have the house face Albemarle. And they used to have two driveways on Adriatic. That is still the current plan. Not only is their proposed plan of the 2 homes going to look better on both Albemarle and Adriatic, it's also going to lessen the traffic on Albemarle. We have Seabourn, which is a daycare center at the front of the island, and the parents use Albemarle to cut through. Ed and Angie's plan is helping the residents of Albemarle with less cars on the road. Plus, it's going to look better instead of having subway car house and subway car house. So we would like you to please respectfully approve their rules.
Thank you, ma'am. Could you spell your last name for me?
Sure, it's M-E-N-A. My first
Thank
name
you.
is, my husband's name is Robert.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter from the public?
My name is Patricia Geiger. I live at 116 Adriatic. We moved there 4 years ago. If you look at 1925 pictures of Davis Island, my house was an original model home. There were 4 of us in that picture. Across the street from me, right adjacent to Ed and Angie's house, is a National Historic Register home. That home faces Aegean, but has an original apartment on Adriatic, meaning it has been done. If that house were to take that garage, which has an Adriatic address, and build a house, it would be no different than what Ed and Angie are proposing. I used to look at Ed and Angie's garage. Now I'll be looking at Ed and Angie's front door, which makes a whole big difference to me. If you want to talk about consistent with development on the island, the homes they propose are far more attractive than what I've seen. In the 4 years that I've lived there, so many historic homes on Adriatic were torn down, and large block homes with lot lines that were just to the edge with no landscaping and far too much concrete have gone up. They propose to build these beautiful homes that will still, thanks to Angie, have a bit of garden space, will have it just to add to the neighborhood. I cannot express how important this is to me, that they are allowed to build what they want, because even when they leave, those houses will still add to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Straw,
Could you also spell your last name, please?
Geiger.
Geiger. Thank you. Attorney Pettis Mackle, did you have a comment?
I just need a clarification of our name.
Okay, yep. We're on the same page. Yes, ma'am, please proceed.
My name is Paulina Tan. That's my maiden name. I am the owner of 59 Aegean Avenue. I also own 117 Adriatic Avenue. It's one parcel, 2 different addresses. It's again on the National Historic Registry. I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this home. I take pride in it. And I've known Ed and Angie for a very long time. They have been great neighbors to us. Had very emotional times with them. I appreciate what they want to offer to our neighborhood. It's really hard to drive by and see empty lots everywhere. And I would love to see our neighbors be back home. So I definitely agree.
Hi, Asma Al-Zogby, AL-Z as in zebra, OUGBI. I think no one mentioned how Ed left his house during Helene, which is with a cat on a shoulder and a litter box on the other shoulder and chest deep to go to Keith's house. And so that night was very traumatic for those of us who stayed. And it's interesting that you guys are using very, very old maps because probably 10% of those houses don't exist and another 20% are vacant. So I think it makes sense to, help with the rebuilding process. I've also seen the house plans and they're planning on beautiful Mediterranean style houses that suit my house, 57 AGN. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So I share a fence with them. Keith and Patty's house and Paulina's house. Your house is not very Mediterranean, but but all of us have that old Mediterranean feel that for the island, and I can't see how having two skinny houses is going to match everything else better than the two, more squarish houses that they're proposing. And so for that reason, I think it's a great idea to just let them start.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else?
Yes, my name is Keith Geiger, live at 116 Adriatic Avenue, directly south of Ed and Angie's property. As my wife mentioned, we've been here about 4 years. We've been displaced as well. We'll get back into our house at the end of this month, but we want Ed and Angie back in the neighborhood. They have been terrific neighbors. They help make our part of Davis Islands a neighborhood. And so we know that they care about Davis Islands and we know they care about the neighborhood. And for the last 4 years, 3.5, we were staring at their garage. So now we'll get to stare at a nice, well-developed house that will also add to the neighborhood. So we support 100% the way that the orientation is proposed and hope that you will agree with us as well.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak at this hearing? All right, seeing none, we'll see if there are any additional comments from the city.
Yes, just can I have a, Mr. Cotton, based upon the testimony, today, although the garage access for, the property in question, 58 Albemarle Avenue, face Adriatic, that's still not the front of the property, correct?
That's correct. Right, is the narrowest portion by the zoning regulations.
And the location of where the garage is on a parcel that's not used in your criteria to determine whether or not you should grant an approval for a lot split or reconfiguration according to City of Tampa Code sections 27-11 and 27-161.
That is correct.
Also, my last question is traffic, any issues with traffic, a criteria in 27-11 or 27-161 for you to use to consider whether or not to grant a lot split or reconfigure a property?
No, ma'am, it's not.
I have no further questions of Mr. Cotton.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner, do you have any questions of Mr. Cotton based on his testimony?
I do not know.
All right, this time we'll hear a closing statement from City Attorney's Office.
Thank you. And of course, my computer just. Okay, Mr. Schroth, thank you so much for your time. The city is asking for you to deny the petition for review and affirm the decision of the zoning administrator. The basis for the denial is that the proposed lots do not meet the requirement according the requirements outlined in Code Section 27-11 and Code Section 27-161. The city is understanding, and we hear that these property owners have been displaced and they're trying to redevelop their lot, their property. That's understandable, but what they're asking for is to waive or not consider the criteria that's outlined in the City of Tampa Code, which Mr. Cotton does not have the authority to do. The petitioners have stated that they don't have a reasonable use of the property to redesign it as it's originally platted. However, based upon my question, and Mr. Hall affirmed it, he does have the ability to design this, those two properties based on how they're originally platted. So they do have reasonable use of their properties if the lots are split according to how they're platted. Overall, the historical development of the properties in the 13 and 23 radius that's required in the City of Tampa Code 27-11, there are no properties that have a lot split or that are reconfigured according to how the petitioners are asking. They are all developed how they were platted. And that is not what these petitioners are asking for. They're asking to develop the properties, not how they're platted, but how they're trying to get the best use of their property, if they're oriented in the way that they're asking for. But there is no historical precedence of that proposal as testified to by Mr. Cotton. And as testified by Mr. Cotton, the two lots, if they were split according to how they are platted, they would meet the RS50 zoning requirements. Once they meet the, once they're measured by the front yard requirements for the RS50 zoning lots. So the petitioners do have reasonable use of their properties if the lots are split, how the parcel is platted. Those are, that is the last of the city's comments, and the city is just respectfully asking to deny the petition for review and affirm the decision of the zoning administrator.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner?
Yes, thank you for your time and really appreciate city staff. I've worked with Eric and Kamari for years and respect everything that they do. And I'll just go back to the question that I asked Eric to really kind of focus us in on the fact that we meet all code criteria. There's only one matter that's at issue here, which is this historical pattern of development. And I'm going to paraphrase. I was reviewing this morning, and there was a term in the code section that struck me that I think is important to point out. And I'm going to paraphrase lightly. You can track it along with the actual code section of 2711, but one word in particular, which basically provides for 2711 and this pertinent provision, what it provides is that lots should not be allowed to be reconfigured when it is patently, and that's the key word, patently inconsistent with existing lot development orientation and historical precedent in the neighborhood. And I think that word, the use of the word patently, is important. When you look that up, it means obviously or clearly. And again, I'm not a trial lawyer, but in a court setting, this would mean that the city has the highest burden of proof that would show that beyond any reasonable doubt, there is no existing lot development that is configured in this manner. And we simply just don't think that that's accurate. If this was your traditional rectangular grid and we were proposing something completely counter to that, then I get it and I would accept it and we wouldn't be here today in front of you. But with Davis Island being so unique, and we're going to show again some of the aerials with these lots being configured so uniquely, both historically and now, we feel like not only has that burden of patently inconsistent not been met, but that we actually are consistent with the historic pattern development, and what's being proposed practically is a far better solution than if you were to go with just a purely strict interpretation of the code. And with that, I'll turn it over to Addie, and I think Mr. Moore wants to close us out.
Yeah,
Before you do that, Mr. Gardner, what was the subsection of 27-11 that had the reference to Pat?
It's 2711. It's funny, the way that it's formatted isn't the greatest, but if you look, it starts off with a section of no new lot shall be created, and then it drops down to 1 and 2, and then it picks up, and I'll read it just as it's stated. It's right after the paragraphs 1, 2. Then it says no division or reconfiguration of an existing lot or lot of record may occur that is a configuration which is patently inconsistent with existing lot development orientation and historical precedent pattern.
All right, thank you.
I think Truett said it best in really closing this out. I think just wanted to highlight one thing that, you know, in allowing this and improving the FDN, it would create an opportunity to, you know, create these lots, like Bob said, and look at it in a fresh way and not these kind of long oblong homes that I think would really benefit everyone. So not just our clients, but those in the neighborhood and then those from, you know, years and years to come.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Yes, just with all due respect to the city's position, I think one thing that's getting lost here is that this is a corner lot. The corner creates something that our neighbors on Adriatic are going to be forced to stare at. And if the city is suggesting that we build 2 cigarette houses that run the length on 2 narrow lots versus what we propose, which is 1 lot in the rear that's almost 70 feet wide, where a lot of the Adriatic houses are 50 wide. And if we were to develop 2 cigarette length houses or narrow houses, the potential for the side setback being on Adriatic for that corner lot and a 100-foot wall potentially going up against the sidewalk, like so many other houses on the island, is aesthetically horrible. Not a good development plan. And that's what my neighbors would look at. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments from the petitioner's side?
No, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Straw.
Thank you for yours. Attorney Pettis-Mackle, do you have anything else to add before we conclude?
No, sir.
All right, at this point, we will conclude this quasi-judicial hearing. I would ask for both sides to please submit, you're not required to, but I would ask you to submit proposed recommended orders by September 12th in Word format. I'm going to carefully evaluate all the evidence that's been stipulated to, review the code provisions that were referenced, and then I will issue a recommended order within the timeframes required under the city code. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Schroth, just one last thing. Ms. Clark gave me a letter today from,
Mr. Hall.
oh,
I
from,
believe it's actually from John Saldana, who's my partner, who is the design architect on the house, but
okay, so it's,
we're partners.
it's from Grow Architecture.
Yep.
So I don't have an objection to this. And I think he already read parts of the letter in the record. So I will amend the exhibit list that I emailed everyone last night, and then I'll make sure that this is added to the record and emailed to you.
Excellent. I appreciate the exhibit table of contents that you provided. Thank you
Okay.
for doing that.
Okay, that's it.
All right, everyone. Nice to meet you and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I just leave, Kamar? Or I didn't want to like mess up the
Yeah, okay.
transcript. Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't want to lose anything. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. The wonders of technology.
Yeah.
Where is he located?
He's like near Orlando.
Yeah.
Yep.